friends. My name is Melinda Harris and I'm an instructional lead for JCPS Digital Innovation, and I am so excited to be here today with you to teach you all about the basics of your smart panel. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn on a couple settings. So you're going to go to your control panel on the front and you're going to push home. And then when you do that, it'll bring you to your home page, and then you're going to click over here on the wheel that says settings, okay? And then we're going to go to our files library, and you want to make sure that allow Google Drive integration in files library is turned on. Okay, so right now it's off, so I'm going to turn it on. Then I'm going to also go to Smart Whiteboard, and I'm going to enable finger inking. I'm going to turn that on, and then I'm going to turn on enable shared whiteboard. So I'm going to turn on both of those things. So the files library Google Drive integration will allow you to see your drive in a totally different way than before. It'll let you see the waffle. It'll let you add files from your board. So that's a really important component or thing to have turned on. The next thing that we turned on was the finger inking, and that will allow you to write with your finger on the whiteboard, or your kids to do so. And that allows you to have more than just 2 students up here at one time. You can actually have, there are 20 different touch points on here, so you can have up to 20 people here. You're obviously not going to get 20 people in front of your panel, but if you have finger inking on, they can all use it. Okay. So then now we're just going to go ahead and get started. The first thing is we're just going to look at our panel component. So we have right here, this is the display, okay? The screen is called the display, and it has touch capabilities, meaning that you can touch on it, okay? Down here at the bottom of your screen, this is called your IQ experience, okay? All those buttons are your IQ experience. You have here your front control panel, and we're going to go through all those controls here in a few minutes. You have your remote sensor and your power status light and the ambient light sensor all right here. So when the power status, when this is green, it's on. When it's red, it's asleep or off, okay? Here, this is just your audio. These are for writing, drawing, and erasing. The pins. Then here you have your front connector panel. So a couple of things to note about this. This is a really good place if you have a guest teacher and they want to connect to your board, have them connect in the front, or maybe the students, you want to have them connect. That's a good place to do that. The other thing that I like to do here is plug in my accessories. So you'll see that I have a keyboard attached to my panel, and so this keyboard actually has a trackpad on the side. So now I can control my panel, from right here on my trackpad or with my wireless keyboard. So something to think about when you're trying to figure out how to use that Amazon money. So on the back side, you have your accessory slots, okay? And you'll see on the accessory slots that it has touch and HDMI, and they're kind of grouped together. So something really important to note here is that when you connect your HDMI cable, you want to make sure that your touch cable is plugged in, right? But you need to make sure that the HDMI and the touch cable are together. So you'll see them in brackets together on the back. So just kind of pay a little bit of attention to that, because if you plug into HDMI 1 and then put your touch in HDMI 2, it's not going to work, right? So you want to make sure that you're kind of paying attention to that as you connect, okay? Okay, so here are the different buttons that you'll find on our control panel, and they are right here on the front of your panel, okay? On your home screen, you have 2 things, and I'm going to come to my home screen so I can just show you. You have your recents and your favorites, okay? Your recents are things that you have opened up recently, all right? And these are things like if you've opened up a whiteboard, or I was recently in the backpack, or I was doing my attendance, that's all right here. These are recents. Now, let's say that this is something that I want to use every day. This is my attendance, so I want to use this every day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the little star in the corner, okay, the left-hand corner, and you'll notice it moved it from my recents to my favorites. Okay, so now anytime that I sign into this panel, this specific panel, I will have this or that attendance right there for me. Okay, one important thing to note here is that favorites are panel specific, not login specific. Okay, so you're not going to be able to log into your friends panel and have your favorites, right? You're going to have to, it's only going to be on this panel that your favorites are going to be here. Okay, so again, if you want to move it from recents to favorites, so favorites are things that you use all the time, you just push this little star and you'll see that it moved it over. It moved it over to my favorites. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the input button. Okay, the input button, it shows you all the different things that are connected to your panel, right? So it is a square with an arrow. It's right next to the home key. Okay, when you click on it, you'll see all the things that are connected. Something really neat, and I don't have anything connected. I always use the panel as a standalone device, so I rarely have anything connected. But if you have something connected, you would use it here. And then what you can do really awesome is you can change the name. So you click the pencil and then you can edit the name. So if this is my computer, I might hit the pencil, type computer, hit done, and now it'll say computer HDMI. Okay, you can also favorite that. Okay, and what that will do is it'll move it to your favorites on your home screen. And it's not going to do anything for me because I don't have anything connected. Okay. All right. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the screen shade. The screen shade just basically covers up your screen. Okay. It's better choice than maybe if you don't want to put it to sleep, or let's say you're getting ready to do an activity, but you don't want the kids to see it right now. You might hit the screen shade and you'll see what it does is it makes your screen black. Okay. So I push it again and it'll make it reappear. The next button is the freeze screen. So the freeze screen will freeze whatever's on your screen, and that looks like a pause button. So you click on it and now my screen is freezed. Okay. So now this will never change, right? Maybe you have something up there that you don't want to lose, or you don't want anybody to be able to move. You can hit pause and it will freeze it, and then that's where it is. Okay. So when you're ready to play again, you just touch it and you'll see it has a big play button. You just push the play button. Okay. The next buttons we're going to talk about are the volume buttons, and there's not a whole lot to say here, right? Just volume up, volume down. So you can see that here. When you push them right there in the corner, you can see the volume is going up or down. Something really neat about this is they will connect to the audio enhancement that you're getting in your classroom soon. So that's really kind of an awesome feature that it is going to integrate like that. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the power button. All right. On the front, this has a power symbol, but it doesn't actually turn your device all the way off. It just puts it to sleep. Okay. Here on the back, bottom, in the back, okay, or on the side, okay, there is a button that will actually toggle on and off. It's a switch, and you can switch it and you will switch it all the way off, right? Something to note here is that if your board is acting wonky, this is a good thing to do. Just turn it off with the switch and turn it back on. And it doesn't take but like 10 seconds to turn back on. So it's something really easy that you can do very quickly. In my classroom, we got to where we were doing this about once a week, just because either the sound was wonky or it didn't want to or it didn't want to like run something. So we would just basically flip the switch, flip it back on. And then of course, when you do that, you're going to have to sign back in. Okay. Or your favorites won't be there. Or the things that you're working on won't be there. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're getting ready to switch it off, that it is going to sign you out. Thing that we're going to talk about are the 4 ways that you can connect to your panel. All right. So the first way is you can connect with an HDMI cord without the touch cord. The second way is you can screen mirror, okay? Screen share. The third way is to use an HDMI cord or the touch cord, or finally you can just sign into the panel. And so ideally we would like to see you at 3 or 4. So using that HDMI plus the touch cord, that touch cord is super important because it allows your panel to be engaging, and it keeps it, excuse me, from being just a TV screen to actually being something that's engaging for students, okay? And then here, the fourth way, which is where we really want you to be, is to sign in. So this really is a device where you can do everything right here. And so you shouldn't need to use your computer. And something really nice about this is that when you're signed into your panel, then your computer is freed up for other things as well, okay? So how do you sign in? If you don't know how to sign in, how do you sign in? All right, so to sign in, you're gonna click the little person. So here you'll see on my panel, I'm signed in. So you're gonna see my little Bitmoji. But normally it'll just be like this little kid right here in the corner. Okay, so you're gonna click that button. And then when you click that button, it'll bring up a notification center along the side. Okay, and at the very bottom, you'll see here, it says sign in. So you'll click sign in, okay? And then it's gonna bring you to a screen that looks like this, and it's gonna say choose an option to get going with your smart account, and you're gonna sign in with Google, okay? And then it's gonna bring you through that whole process that you have on your computer, right? You're gonna have to put in your email twice. So my suggestion is to put it in the first time, then select it all, copy it, right? And then when you push next, you can paste it into the next panel, or into the next screen. I'm sorry, not panel, into the next screen, okay? Then it'll have you enter your password, and then it'll have you multi-factor authentication it. So you are going to need your phone so that you can get that code for that MFA. So now we're gonna go ahead and talk about the whiteboard. The whiteboard is built right here into your panel, okay? So I'm gonna go away from my slides and to actually show you all the cool stuff that the whiteboard can do. So I'm gonna push home, and then I'm gonna click on whiteboard. I'm gonna push the plus sign with the whiteboard. This is gonna bring up a blank whiteboard for me. At the bottom is all different types of paper, all right? So if you look here, this is a white paper, but then I can change it to black paper. Or I can put it on lined paper, wide ruled paper. This is great. When we were teaching writing and we wanted kids to skip lines, we could model that right here for them. This is a yellow notepad wide ruled paper. Here for our primary kids, like they need the extra lines to help them with uppercase, lowercase. This is great paper to use. You can have some dot paper. Here is if you're doing area and perimeter graph paper or graphing, this can be a great tool to use. So there's lots of paper down here at the bottom. This is one of the kids' favorites because they feel like they're graffitiing a wall, right? So you put a picture on here or a video, and then the kids come and write their thoughts around it, and it's like they're kind of graffitiing. So it just gives it that little bit more engagement, okay? So then along the side here, you'll see you have people. So if you click on this, it'll show you all the students that are connected and different things there. That one we're gonna go through in 201. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and you can get on the digital learning channel and watch Smart 201 so that you can see all about that. I just don't have time to go through that in this one. And then you have your pin, okay? So your pin has a few options, all right? The first thing, we did this when we did this at the very beginning. We did our settings. So we turned on finger inking. So here you'll see there's a button with a little finger, and you can turn it on, okay? And it'll allow you then to write with your fingers. And again, multiple people can be up here writing at the same time, okay, with their fingers. You can see that when I use multiple fingers, multiple things are happening, right? And I'm using 6 there, okay? So that's one of the things that you can do. To change the color or the thickness of the line, it's right here underneath. So this will change your thickness of your line. This will change the color, okay? If you just want to be able to write with the pens, you're just going to turn off finger inking there, okay? So to erase, you're going to use your whole palm, okay? And you're going to erase just like this, okay? So that will erase what is on your screen, okay? The next thing that we're gonna look at is here, the different types of pens. You have, this one is a highlighter, okay? So it'll give you a little bit different look, and that's not working because I didn't have finger inking turned on. Finger inking was off. So now I'm gonna turn finger inking on and I can write. But you'll see when finger inking is off, then my fingers just move the panel or move the whiteboard, and it won't actually write, okay? Something to note here while we're here is this tells you where you are on the whiteboard, okay? There's a lot, this whiteboard is very, very big. There's a lot of space. There's a very large canvas. And so sometimes you might start writing over here, okay? And then you need to go back to something up here, okay? You can use this display at the bottom to show you where your writing is, okay? So when you put your finger on it and drag, it's moving it around, and you can kind of see that. If you use two fingers, you can pan it in and out, zoom in and out, okay? So now you can see I have the entire whiteboard showing here, okay? So now things are gonna look a little bit smaller because I'm zoomed out, okay? This tool is my favorite. So it's the pen with the A. And so what that does is it actually takes what you wrote, okay, and turns it into text, okay? So I love this tool because sometimes my handwriting is terrible, and so it's great that I can just write up there and then it'll fix it for me. Couple things about that is when it's up here, you cannot just erase it. Like I can erase the pen, but I cannot erase this, okay? You have to click on it, click on the down arrow, and then hit delete, okay? Couple options here, if you can see, it also gives you like kind of like a spell checker if it got what you wrote wrong. So maybe I didn't want it to have a capital letter, I want it to be lowercase, I can just change it there, okay? I can lock it in place. The lock, what it does is it makes it so that it doesn't move, okay? I can unlock it. I can turn on the infinite cloner. So what the infinite cloner does is it lets you have multiple of one. So look at what's happening as I do that. Multiple cats, okay? That's actually an option for pictures as well. So when you want to use your picture or when you want to infinite clone your pictures, which is great for like base 10 blocks, or maybe you're using little manipulatives, little teddy bears, and you want the kids to be able to count, that infinite cloner is really awesome for that, okay? So this brings me, now I have all these cats on the screen. This brings me to my next tool here. Is the little square select tool. Well, all this does is let me select multiple things at one time. Okay, I dragged over, I selected multiple things. If I hit the arrow, I can hit delete and it will delete them. It did not delete this one because the infinite cloner is on. If I want that off, I have to disable it and then hit the down arrow and delete. So here are some add content. So this button here with the little plus, the square, and the plus sign lets you add content. So it's going to let you add pictures. It's going to let you add videos. So what you're going to do here, okay, you're just going to search for whatever you're looking for, okay, and then it'll bring up anything that you need. All right, so it's a Bing safe search. So it should be safe, but I was with a group of adults and I typed in, I think cats, and it brought up some things that may not necessarily have been the greatest in front of a group of children. So just kind of be cognizant and aware of that when you're getting ready to add videos here on your board from here. Okay, but when you click on the video, you see what it did. It brought it over here. Now I can click on it and play it from right here, and it's gonna play. Okay. Oh, something else here while we're here. If you push the screen shade while it's playing a video, it will pause the video right where it was. Okay. If you freeze the screen, it will also freeze the video. Okay. When I push play, here it goes. Okay. Now I'm done with this, so I'm going to push the X in the corner. So you're going to click on it, and then the down arrow will come up, and then you hit delete. Okay. So that will get rid of your video. Next thing we're going to look at are the widgets. The widgets are some of my favorites. So the squares, it's like tiled squares, and one's kind of out of place. We'll bring up your widgets, and so then you have different things here. Okay, so you have your clock. So if you click on this, it'll bring up a clock onto your board. All right, you can click on the clock and hit the down arrow and hit settings, and then you can also change the type of clock that it is. So you can make it a digital clock. Okay, you can also make it a 24-hour clock if you would like to. So that's something that you can do with your clock. If you want to make it bigger, you just click on it and click on the little, sorry, you have to close it first, okay? And then click on the little circle in the bottom, and it will make your clock bigger. There's my clock, right? Then if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to get rid of that, I'm going to click on it, click the down arrow next to it, and then hit delete. Okay. The next thing are the dice. So this is just a regular die. When you click on it, it just rolls the die. Okay. You click on it again, it will stop it. Okay. Here's something that's super fun. And I'm sorry, I'm going to zoom my board back in so that things on the board are a little bit bigger for y'all. So something that's really, really super fun about the dice is that you can change them. So if you click on it and make the arrow come up, and so it's a little bit, you have to kind of click on the outside, push the down arrow, and then push settings, okay? It'll let you change the number of dice that you're using. So if I add 4, now I can have 5 die, okay? I can have traditional die. I can change it to a text dice, okay? So this will allow me to write letters on my board or even words. Or on my die, I'm sorry. So like I could click here on the C, and I could make this actually say cat, and make this say dad, okay? And then I could also change the colors, okay? All right. So it'll give me several die, okay, that I can edit. And all the die will be the same, okay? So you aren't going to get you on this one, in this one setting, you're not going to be able to make 5 different die, okay? Or dice. You're going to be able to make one, and then I'll show you how you could make multiples, okay? So let's say that you get this done and you're ready to go with this. This is good, okay? You only want 1 here, not 5, okay? So then what you can do is when you push the back arrow, it'll bring the die up. Click outside of the die, click the down arrow, and click add my widget, okay? So again, plus my widget, okay? When you click on that, what it'll do, it will add the widget to your widgets, okay? So now, favorites, right, we said were panel specific, not user specific. Widgets are user specific. So my widgets will move with me to whatever panel that I'm using. And so like if I pull up this, you can see here are some die that I made last week. Okay, so I don't want them right here. Okay, but now I could add another widget and add, there's another die that I made last week. Okay, so then you could make several die, add them to your widgets, and then have all different die up here on your screen at one time. Okay, here you have a spinner. Again, you're going to click on kind of on the outside. If you want more than 4 choices, click on the outside, click the down arrow, hit settings, and then it'll let you add text to your spinner. So you could, instead of using popsicle sticks, you could put all your kids' names on here, and then use this to draw. Different things that you could do with that. You could put their numbers here, let it spin. Again, once you do all that work, make sure to click on the outside, okay? Click the down arrow and then add it to your widgets. That way it'll always be there for you when you want to use it, okay? The next thing here in the widgets, I'm not going to go through them all just for the sake of time, but you have a timer here, okay? You can change the time that you're giving the students. This will reset it to 0, okay? There are a couple settings here, not very many, but it'll let you change the alert sound. So if you want it to have an alert, if you want it to count down or up, it'll let you change the shape. And the color. So just a couple things that you might want to do with that. The other widget that we used a lot in my classroom was the ruler. So this was great for showing students, you know how you always have them and they're like, okay, it's good. And they line it up at the end and you're like, no, you got to line it up here at the line. This is a great thing to use to show them that. Okay. Another really awesome feature about this is that when I draw a line with the ruler, it actually makes a straight line for me. So if you are like one of those people that really want straight lines, the ruler feature here on your panel will allow you to draw straight lines on your panel right here on your whiteboard. Okay, so those are the widgets. Now I'm going to talk to you about some activities. Okay, so this is the add activity button here. It's the square with the plus sign. Okay, at the top you have some collaborative activities that you can use. Again, those are, for the sake of time, we're not going to go through those right now, but those are something that we do go over in the next SMART training. So if you're interested in that, you can look up 201. But those are really, really fun and super fabulous. But if you see here on the Add Activities button, you have all different types of graphic organizers. Okay, so you have a Venn diagram, you have thinking frames, you have columns and tables and story maps, you have a sequence chart, there's a Frayer model and some reading response type graphic organizers. So when you click on those, it'll add a new page, okay, and then it will put the graphic organizer right here so that you can write on it. Okay, so something that you might have the students do, and oops, so I still have the pen with the A selected, so I'm going to turn that off, okay, and then should let me just write here, okay. I'm going to erase. Oh, I guess I didn't turn it off. Need to do that. Okay. So then the next thing that's really awesome in the add activities are the manipulatives. So this is something pretty new. Okay. You have different things that you can do here. So here you can have a calendar, you can have clocks. If I add the clocks in, okay, it'll let you draw lines on the clocks and then write the time, okay. That's super fun. Another activity that you might want to use are the sorting shapes. So the students just sort the shapes into different things. There is some making words here that the students can make words using the letters. There's also base 10 blocks here. So 200 plus 1 equals 201. So those are some new, that's kind of a new feature that they've added onto there as well. Now we're going to talk about the browser. So the browser, when you go to your home screen, okay, the browser is right here. You click on it and it'll just launch a browser. This is what I had open. Okay, something that's really awesome about the browser is that it works just like the web. Okay, so if you have your keyboard and trackpad connected, you can just search just like you normally would. You can do that even without it, right? I can just type up here, drive, okay? So I can pull anything that I want up here. The really cool feature about the browser is that if I pick up a pen and start writing, it will allow me to write right here on this screen, okay? So let's say I want to say, okay, you're going to get started here. This is the button, okay? Just labeling the web page. So I'm going to write on it, okay? I can change the color over here, okay? I can change the thickness of my pen. All right. So then what I can do is when I hit the green X, because I'm done, I can either decide to save this or discard it. So if I save this, what it's going to do is it's going to put it in my board file. So here it is. Here's my recents. This is what I wrote on. So that is what I just did. If I wanted to use that tomorrow, I might, if I was like, let's say I was labeling the parts of an animal and I wanted to use it tomorrow, I might put it as a favorite and then it would move over here and it would be right there. Okay. If not, if I just want it in my board files, I'm going to click files in the IQ experience. Okay. And then here it has my files. And I can click this arrow and it'll give me Lumio files, downloads, drive, or it'll give me board files, okay? So if I click on Lumio files, this is all of my Lumio files. If I click on that down arrow and click Google Drive, it's going to take me to my Google Drive, okay? If I click on that down arrow, back to files, and I click on board files, it'll show me all the things that I've done here, right here on this board, okay? So any resources that are saved onto the board, okay? So that's a really awesome feature about the browser, okay? And then, where did it go? Right here, okay. So then, yep, you can do that. You can have it there. You can organize the board files. If you click last modified up there, I'm sorry, I could have showed you that. You click up here, last modified. You can sort by name or by type. And so that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you have learned some new tips and tricks to using your panel to engage your students. Have a great day.